What does owning an NFT of an asset really mean? One of the important requirements of ownership is control. How much control do we get over an asset owning an NFT of it? If we buy an NFT of an artwork, what kind of rights do we get over the artwork? Before we get into that, we need to understand how NFTs are classified legally, as the regulations applicable will depend on the legal classification and in turn decide the type of ownership. All NFTs are linked to specific smart contracts on blockchain network. Smart contracts are self-executing digital contracts that contain the terms of the agreement an NFT represents. The terms are embedded within the NFT tokens. Why are we talking about smart contracts though? To point out that NFTs may behave very differently based on the smart contract codes, and the legal classification of NFT may not be absolute. As the smart contract for an NFT controls the rights granted to the NFT owners, the classification of NFT may vary case by case based on the codes of the smart contracts. Some of the possible legal classification of NFTs are commodity, security, or property rights. Let's start with NFTs as commodity. The question of NFTs being classified as commodities arises as regulators around the world are likely to classify cryptocurrencies as commodities. The classification of NFTs as commodities is still not clear though. NFTs are different from cryptocurrencies, as NFTs refer to another asset of value rather than being value reserves themselves. So NFTs can be classified as securities or property rights depending on the rules in the smart contracts. For NFTs to be classified as securities, it has to pass the Howey test, which requires an investment contract to offer an expectation of future profits, and the profits should come from the efforts of a promoter or a third party. Possible use case may be a real estate developer issuing NFTs that represent an interest in the project that is yet to be built and use the NFT sale proceeds for project expenses. A related classification of NFTs can be as derivatives. A derivative can be a contract that derives its value from the price of underlying securities. If the value of the NFT is tied to the value of the asset it represents, it can be classified as a derivative. NFTs that can be classified as securities may lead to legal challenges, as trading securities are often highly regulated. Confusion around the legal classification of NFTs can be problematic. A petition was filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission, that is SEC, on 12th April 2021, recommending the regulator to regulate NFTs. NFTs can also be classified as rights over the referenced assets. So the question arises of what kind of rights are transferred with NFTs. Do the NFT owners receive copyrights over the reference assets? There are two kinds of rights: usage rights, that is, rights granted to an individual by the creator to use something for a specific purpose at a particular period. Usage rights can be further classified for personal use and for commercial use. And then copyrights, that is, exclusive legal rights to edit, print, sell, publish, and distribute. So what kind of rights do the NFT holders receive? There is a lot of confusion about it. Some NFT creators are being proactive about the rights and clarifying the rights to the NFT holders. For example, Dapper Labs Inc., the Canadian company behind CryptoKitties, created an NFT license. Apart from other rights, the license allows the NFT holders to use the kitty art to commercialize their own merchandise, provided that the NFT holders are not earning more than $100,000 in revenue each year from doing so. At the same time, the NFT license restricts the NFT holders from selling the art or gaining intellectual property rights over it. So it is quite clear that NFT does not transfer the IP rights attached to the underlying asset. Now comes the question of enforceability. The value of a contract comes down to how enforceable it is. Another major aspect regarding the legality of NFTs. As mentioned before, NFTs are guided by smart contracts. The issue is that smart contracts are not yet recognized by current regulations. In some jurisdictions, regulators have started to analyze smart contracts to evaluate the legality. For example, in the UK, the Law Commission has called for evidence regarding smart contracts. Another issue with the legal enforceability of NFTs is the international nature of blockchain networks. Are the legal rights provided by NFTs enforceable globally? To remove ambiguity, NFT sellers can issue off-chain contracts recognized by current regulations and link these contracts with the NFTs. Let us end this part with a legal challenge created by NFTs: money laundering. Art markets are often linked with money laundering. In recent years, regulators are trying to take art markets under the purview of anti-money laundering regulations. The sudden rise of NFTs raises questions about whether these transactions are being used by art dealers to circumvent the anti-money laundering regulations. Now, let us move to the potential real-world use cases of the NFT technology in the next part.